All right, we're back. So we're ready to attach the board to the blade strip. And I will kind of walk you through the process. What I have made is a little jig here with some screw and a washer. It has a stepped washer on it to kind of avoid components. You'll see that here in a minute. So I will start from the bottom up, put the screw in there, put the board on there. One washer, two washers, wing nut. Get it just kind of hand tight, so it won't move on its own. It doesn't need to, there's not a lot of force needed there. Okay, and then I will use it to align the 7 contact pads there. Oops, and then the 2 contact pads there. Okay, once I'm happy and I know they're all aligned, all right, we've got everything squared away. Okay, then I'll kind of tighten it down just a little bit more. All right, that wasn't actually a whole half turn. I was letting it slip in my hand below the board there. So, right, so now we're successfully lined up, and it looks good. Okay, so what I'll do here is solder the first 2 pads. So for the solder that I use to actually assemble is I always use Kester solder. I have for a really long time, and that's pretty much what my go-to solder for all that kind of stuff. So again, a little bit on the soldering iron, a little bit on the pad, build some up, make contact. Same thing on the other side. Good contact. Right, so now the solder joints are well and properly connected there. Remember, the board is being held nice and closely together, right, by the thing there. You'll notice the shape of that bottom washer. It's because these components here on each side would the washer would actually press down on those, and I'm trying to press the boards together, not the components down, right? So essentially the soldering bit for the contact pads is the same thing. It takes a little bit of skill here, a little bit of practice as well. So the key is just to kind of go slow and be methodical. So I'm going to take my soldering iron, I'm going to line one up, and I'm going to actually attach the pad. Okay, so now that it's attached on this side, I don't have to worry about the blade moving anymore. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my solder across all the connections, and I'm just going to go up the soldering iron, right? And that usually grabs just about enough solder to cover all the pads. And then what you're doing is you're doing what's called drag soldering. So I'm going to drag solder, and it's going to make contact, and it's going to spread an even amount roughly across all the pads. And there's a bridge in there, and that's perfect because I wanted there to be a bridge so I could show you the process here to get rid of the bridge. So to get rid of the bridge, what I do is I add a little bit more flux. Flux helps solder flow. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit of flux along the soldering path. Okay, and this is just chip quick, no clean flux, but I will be cleaning. So now that there's a little bit of flux, extra flux there, I go back in, and boom, now we are perfectly separated. All the little solder joints are nice and happy. Let me see if I can get to show you that there, right? So each pad is individual. There's no bridges between pads, okay? If you question or if you think that there might be a bridge between pads, go ahead and test for it. Just get your multimeter out and, test. The way you do it is, I'll show you here. Let me remove the screw. The way you would do it is you would put a probe in one of the little holes that's in the top there, and then put one on its neighbor. If there's no bridge there, right, test for continuity. If there's no bridge, you won't get any sound, and it'll work correctly. And just walk up the line, testing the one on the right and left of each time, and then you're good. It's going to be Come on, focus for me. There you go. All right, so that's what it's supposed to look like, right? And then on the back side, that's what it's supposed to look like there. Okay. And you notice here the hole lines up just right, because there's going to be something passing through that hole, which is critical to this. So, right, that's pretty much the assembly process for the board. The battery data and the ground connection are next.